Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Welcome back, listeners, new and old, and I'm not talking about age. There are some of you that have been with us since the beginning, and there's some of you that are brand new, at least hopefully you're brand new in discovering our wonderful podcast. My name is Matt. I am your host. Some of you might know me. I've been in the Prescott area for 11 years now. That doesn't really matter, though, because my co-host is not from Prescott. He is from the far reaches of outer space. Mysterious Mike.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, new and old.
So, Mike, speaking of new and old, let's go ahead and let our frequent listeners understand our new syndication. I guess syndication is a good way to put it, because we're not paying them and they're not paying us. We're just kind of doing this mutual so that our listeners will go to their website and some of their readership will go and listen to our podcast. And that is a local news website here that covers the Prescott area. They're mostly based out of Prescott Valley, but that is the website signalsaz.com.
Ooh, tell me more.
So signalsaz.com was started by basically Brad Fain and Guy Rogerson with Torrance Dunham thrown in, and they report on the news of the local Prescott area. They don't really do much in the way of spot news. They do more feature stories and bigger news, like, say, recently it was announced that we're getting a new airline. Well, we're getting an airline back at the Prescott Airport. And so that was a big story for everyone on that one, and they had that up on their site.
Oh, okay. That's real cool.
So we are actually on their website under signalsaz.com. You'll see a kind of a bar across the top. It's a menu. Best way to describe it is a menu, but it looks like just a little bar that goes across. If you find the tab that says columns and you click on that, and if you look down, we are under the columns tab under Real Film Nerds. So if you click on that, you will get a whole bunch of our podcasts that you can listen to right there and then on their website.
Wow, that's awesome.
For those of you who are joining us from Signal's website and you like to take podcasts on the go, listen to them in the car, on your phone, whatever, we are anywhere and everywhere that you find podcasts. iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google, whatever they call the Google, I think it's just Google Podcasts. It used to be Google Play, but Google Podcasts app on all of your Android phones, all you got to do is look for the Real Film Nerds and you can subscribe right there, and every single one of our new episodes will be downloaded right to your phone or iPad or computer or whatever you listen to us on.
Wow.
So anyways,
Matt, great info.
Lots and lots and lots of information for our new listeners. So sorry to get a little off track there, people that have been with us forever that want us to get to our review and our very first Tributary ever, which I guess I probably should explain as well. A Tributary is much like our Legacy Cast. It's just a fun name for a different kind of movie. Our Legacy Casts are movies that are not currently in the theater. It's usually a classic movie, but it doesn't have to be. It could be that year. It's just something that is not in the theaters at the time of our recording. So Legacy Cast could be like our most recent one was Jaws. Well, that's from 1975. So hence it's a legacy movie from classic. Another word for a classic. Well, a Tributary is a movie. We're still discussing if we're going to do shows, but I personally think we should just stick to movies because that's what we do. But it's a movie that you can find on one of the many streaming services, and that's where you can only find it. You can't, go and see it in the movie theater. So it's like Netflix originals or Amazon Prime originals or HBO or Showtime or Stars or one of the many, many, many streaming services or Hulu. It's one of those. And so this is our very first one of those, and it is a Netflix original. Mike, what is our first Tributary movie?
So the first movie that we're doing for this Tributary series is Anon. It was released in 2018. It was released in May of 2018. And the story is, in a near future world where there is no privacy or ignorance, our private memories are recorded and crime almost ceases to exist. In trying to solve a series of unsolved murders, Seyfried stumbles onto a young woman who appears to have subverted the system and disappeared. She has no identity, no history, and no record. Sal realizes it may not be the end of crime but the beginning. Known only as the girl, she must be found before Sal becomes the next victim. This movie is starring Clive Owen as Sal Freeland and Amanda Seyfried as the girl. And it's written and directed by Andrew Nichol.
All right. Thanks for that, Mike. So, what did you think of Anon?
So I like this movie. I really like the visuals of this near future world where everything is seen. You almost have like a overlay on your eyes where you just see all these advertisements, kind of Minority Report-esque. And like everything about people and stuff, because when you're walking, it's just they're auto-identified and stuff. That was really, really well done.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed the look and the feel of this movie. It was sci-fi is one of my favorite forms of movies. I love technology. I love sci-fi. A lot of it predicts what's coming down the pipeline, what the future might hold. And this for sure is one of those movies. It's like Google Glass on steroids. You know anything and everything about everyone. You are constantly being fed information with or without your knowledge or being allowed or blocking it. They have advertisements that are in I guess they don't really explain if it's like a lens or if it's a computer that's installed in you or what.
Yeah, they don't explain how this all happens, but everyone sees like stuff overlaid, kind of like an augmented reality.
Right. It's for sure 100% augmented reality, which is coming down the pike for sure. Microsoft is one of the biggest ones working on augmented reality. Now, there's a huge difference between augmented reality and virtual reality. Virtual reality, much like things like the PlayStation VR and what's the one that Facebook is doing? Oh, I don't remember the name of the one that Facebook...
Oculus?
Yeah, Oculus. Yeah, Oculus. Those two are more like a virtual world where everything is digital inside of it. Augmented reality is more of having information right there in front of you so you don't have to look away or you don't have to look it up. It just automatically does it. So, which in this movie, they use it very smart and very kind of creepy as well. Like, it starts out with, Clive Owen walking down the street, and it's literally telling you every single person's name, birth date, and like how many kids they have, and he's just walking down the street. And it's just like information overload, man. And then he starts looking around, and you see on the buildings, there's like an ad for Jägermeister and an ad for this.
Yeah.
Now,
it was like Heineken and Jägermeister, and there's a bunch of ads. It was well done, though. They're just like on the building. Like it's just the building is white spaced for ads.
I can't even imagine how long it took them to do that. But that's where we're going in this world of ours, is we're heading down that road of this augmented reality where we'll know anything and everything we want to know without even having to remember anything. It's kind of crazy. But I really liked it, and it was scary at the same time.
Yeah, it is scary because this seems close. This seems real close. Like the description of a near future, yes.
I think it's a hell of a lot closer than, people realize, in my opinion. I think probably 5 to 10 years we will have shit like this.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know if it'll be quite that soon, but we definitely, we already have some augmented stuff, and it's only going to get better, so yeah.
Right. The computing power is just going to get better, faster, and smaller. So then they can, I don't think it'll be like in this movie. Like in this movie, they're not running around wearing weird looking goggles or glasses or anything like that. Like it's in either their head or it's like a contact lens, but you never see them take it out. But it's like, it has to be like some kind of like maybe implant or something. I don't know. But it's always on and it's always recording. And you don't have privacy anymore, period.
Yeah, it seems like maybe when you're born, part of your being born is they put this thing in your eye, and from that point on, everything is recorded. Your whole visual experience is recorded of your whole life.
Well, yeah, because there was that one scene where they were pulling up, it was like a murder or something. Clive Owen's character in the movie is a detective. And they were pulling up a murder, and I think the guy like shot some dude in the street or something. And so they pulled the video feed from the dude that got shot, and they pulled the feed of the guy that was doing the shooting. And then he was trying to argue that it was self-defense and that he had a gun and all this other shit. And his jacket, the guy that, lived and shot the other guy. And Clive Owen pulls up the feed from an infant that's sitting there witnessing the whole thing. And I mean, it's a baby. It's like probably 9-month-old baby, and it has an implant and watches this whole thing. And he pulls the feed up from that. And he was able to say, oh no, we see in the feed from the infant that it was clearly not a gun.
Yeah. It is interesting, how kind of creepy all that stuff is. Like when people are trying to get away with stuff, and it's just like, nope, this is what happened. It's right here.
Yeah, and he didn't screw around at all. He was a 100% saying, I did not, I did this in self-defense. And then the instant Clive Owen proves otherwise, he's like, flips a switch. Yes, I want a plea deal. He's like, oh crap, I'm caught. I love this movie, man. This is right up my alley. It makes you think. After watching this, I sat there and I thought about it probably for the next couple days in and out, about the ramifications this could have on my personal life, on the people around me, the positives and the negatives of having information like this at your fingertips. It really had me thinking. And I think that really is what makes a good movie, is a movie that makes you think.
Yeah, no, I kind of saw this. I believe Netflix recommended this for me, which is not a surprise considering all the stuff that I watch. It's kind of sci-fi-esque. And I really enjoyed this movie, and which is why I believe did I recommend this one for the Tributary, the first one?
Yeah. When we were discussing it, a couple weeks ago so, I was saying we need to do a Tributary. We talked about it, but we haven't done one yet. And you're like, oh, let's try this one. I'm like, I haven't even heard of that movie, which is kind of shows you how kind of screwed up Netflix is. Like it recommended it for you, but it didn't recommend it for me, which is interesting because if you look at my history, it's like The Office and like Marvel and the different Marvel like series, like shows and stuff. And then it's like sci-fi, like I'm working my way through Lost in Space and,
they should have
Star Wars and all that stuff. And it didn't. It wasn't even on my radar. Like I had to look for it. I had to sit down and look for it. And then I put it on my list and I couldn't even find it on my list, which is interesting. So I had to go through and just type search for it.
Well, I know Netflix has recently overhauled their interface for finding stuff, because I believe you are not the only person who's having problems finding just new or different stuff on Netflix, because Netflix has thousands of things, but if you don't find it easily, it's not there, essentially.
Right,
so,
and I don't I have an Apple TV, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I hardly ever use my Apple TV, ever. Unless I have a movie that I got through iTunes or whatever, which is pretty rare for me. Most of my stuff I have on Vudu. So anyways, I love my Roku. It's a much better remote. I like the interface a lot better. But the problem with the Roku is that the Roku's kind of the bastard stepchild of streaming devices. Like, they update the Amazon Prime Stick before they update the real Roku. And what sucks is that the Roku is completely independent. Like, Amazon is the Prime Stick, and Apple has their Apple streaming stuff. Roku doesn't side with anybody. Roku is its own thing, which is what I like. Roku's like, yeah, you want to put that on our system? Sure, fine, make a channel. Oh, you want to put that on there? Sure, fine. So you get a lot more stuff on the Roku because they're not trying to favor their content, because they really don't have content.
Yeah, they're not trying to pick sides. They're like, we'll just work for everything. It's up to you to choose.
We'll just give it all to you. Enjoy. And I like that. But it, as I said, it has its pitfalls where it's like the last freaking thing updated. Like on my DirecTV Now, they're like, it works on Amazon Prime Stick and it works on Apple TV. Roku coming soon.
Yeah, man. That sucks. And I think Roku's popular enough that it should have better support, but for reasons I don't know.
Well, the big thing now, I don't know if they cut a deal with these different manufacturers, but Google cut a deal for a while, and they were putting Chromecast natively in televisions. Well, recently, they have started putting Rokus natively inside televisions now, and people are just loving it because it has an interface. Chromecast really doesn't have an interface. You got to have your phone to be able to watch stuff on it. And so people are loving having a Roku built into their TV because it's fast and it's smart, and you can add all these channels. You don't have to go searching for the stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I believe this company called TCL, it's kind of a competitor to Vizio. They have been embedding the Roku. It's like a Roku TV, so it's like Roku powered. And
right.
People are loving it, and they're really reasonably priced. And for what you get for the money, it might be the best bang for the buck.
Right now, it is.
TCLs, yeah.
And you know where TCL comes from, right?
I do not.
TCL is a Chinese company. It is not a Korean company like most of our current television manufacturers.
Oh. Well, is Vizio Korean, or are they...
No, Vizio is technically American.
Well, where's the stuff manufactured?
A lot of it, well, okay. It depends what you mean by manufactured, because Vizio actually assembles their TVs in the United States. They get all the parts from around the world, and they assemble them in the United States. Now, I don't know where all the majority of their parts come from. Usually when it comes to TVs, usually talk about the panels. And typically there's only two panel manufacturers, which is Samsung and LG. And Samsung and LG are both Korean. But that's fun fact on why TCL and everybody loves TCL so much. From what I've heard on my tech shows and podcasts and things I like to listen to and pay attention to, TCL basically gets the old panels from Samsung. So if you buy a TCL television, you're in theory getting a couple-year-old Samsung TV.
Oh, they're just buying like the older gen of their latest gen?
Right. They're buying their older panels that Samsung doesn't want anymore and then putting their own case and Roku and all that stuff in it.
Well, apparently it's working because I've heard rave things about their 4K 6 series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know they're the number one selling television on Amazon. It's one of their 55-inch. I think it's a 55-inch. Because, I mean, I was eyeballing it. Not that I'm going to ever buy a new TV until this one dies. I have a Samsung right now, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. But when it does finally kick the bucket, because it's quite old, I will probably be looking at a TCL. Just because the quality and the bang for the buck.
Yeah.
So anyways, again, for those of us who are just joining us, Mike and I get off topic a lot, but we discuss a lot of interesting things that apply to moviegoers, especially if you like to watch movies at home, like Anon on Netflix.
Yes. This movie, I enjoyed this movie so much. I thought it was so well done. And I wonder how well it's done on Netflix. Like, sometimes I wonder, I know Netflix knows, but they don't release any of that stuff. I just wonder if people like this movie. I told everyone I work with about it, but, I don't know if they went and watched it, and I haven't heard anything.
Well, the ratings on IMDb aren't great. the consensus rating on IMDb is 6 out of 10. So that's I guess it's a passing grade. It's like a D, but I don't know. I think it's better than that.
Yeah, I do too.
I freaking love Clive Owen. I absolutely love Clive Owen. He's one of my more recent favorite actors. Well, I guess not that recent. Like, I really, really loved him in Children of Men. I loved that movie. I thought that movie was fantastic. That was a good movie. And then Sin City. He was amazing in Sin City.
Yes, that's another great one. Yeah, Clive Owen's great. I think that's part of the reason I watched this. I was like, oh, Clive Owen. Oh, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I watched the trailer for it, like autoplayed or something on Netflix, and I was like, oh, that seems cool. And then I watched it, I was like, I was blown away with how well the scenes where you're in the first person and you see all this information, it's so well done. It's so good.
And then when, the scenes with the gun where it looks like a first-person video game, I think they purposely did that to make it look like that kind of video game style. The gun looks a little fake. It doesn't look real. Stuff like that.
Yeah. But I thought that was great. Like, I don't know. Maybe some people just thought this movie, because this movie is mostly talking and thinking, and maybe that's why it didn't get as much great ratings.
It's not an action movie. It never is touted an action movie. It's a detective, like, thriller, kind of dark, whodunit kind of mystery movie, and I like that. It's a blend of a lot of different genres. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of that, So this is I watched it 2 times, and the second time I picked this up, it's a little bit like Minority Report because the cop character's divorced and he's lost a child. And I was like, wow, that's kind of like Minority Report. And then this is kind of like a Minority Report world. But other than that, like, I mean, I was kind of like, I don't know. I saw that in there, but
it is, I could see that. I could see some inspiration from Minority Report, but Clive Owen not having his son in it, being a major factor to his character, it really isn't. It becomes a factor later on with the girl, but it's not like a huge factor like Tom Cruise is in Minority Report. Like, the kid in Minority Report, like, his son being killed was like almost all of Tom Cruise's motivation for that movie. And in this one, that's not really the motivation of Clive Owen. It's a side story, but it's not his motivation. It's not his main story.
Right. But I could see how people would draw parallels and be like, this is just a rip-off of Minority Report. It's not, but it's kind of shares some of the same things. But you're right. In Minority Report, it's such a major part of what drives Tom Cruise's character in that movie.
I think this is smarter than Minority Report. I think Minority Report is more about the action and the drama and the cop kind of thing. And in this one, I think this movie is blatantly about technology and the coming storm and the end of privacy.
Okay. Yeah. I could agree. I mean, the Minority Report did feature as much stuff for technology as it thought. I mean, Minority Report was made in, I believe, 2000. So at that time, that was what everyone was thinking all that stuff would do. But you're right. It's still mostly just an action movie, cop type movie. And this one was more about, the future and how technology is going to end privacy forever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the social commentary that this movie has on our current world, especially with privacy and all the leaks of like Facebook and Twitter. Well, I don't think Twitter's had a leak, but the multiple social medias with their different leaks and the Home Depot and Target and
yeah,
just everything being hacked and taken advantage of, and really being able to see how little privacy everyone really has now in this new internet age, I think this really brings it to light on what really could happen down the road.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely. I mean, this movie seems very close.
All right, so Mike, to get us back on kind of our train of thought, I mean, but that's an interesting discussion. You and I can talk about that all day long because we're both big time tech heads. At least I am, and I know you are because you work in it. So
Yes. I definitely enjoy all the tech stuff.
So, Mike, how does Anon relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
So we have Billy Perot. He's an actor, and he was in The Incredible Hulk. Which, Matt, does that one count? That's what I thought it did.
Which Incredible Hulk are you talking about?
The one that has American History X.
Edward Norton?
Yeah, Edward Norton.
I believe the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie is considered part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I do not think the Eric Bana one is, though.
No,
I would have to
it's not
look,
that one. It's
but I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's the Edward Norton one, and then he was also an actor in Anon.
You know, it has to count the Edward Norton one because they have a what do they call them? A teaser, a burner, or whatever it is after the credits. What's the technical term for that shit? I always call it a burner. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know, man. I've always just said after credit preview or after credit, scene.
After credit scene or something. Yeah, I've always called it like a burner. But yeah, because it makes you want to go see like the next movie. But they have a burner at the end of that Incredible Hulk where Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. talks with the General. Because the General is in, was it Civil War or was it Winter Soldier or something? He was in one of them. And he's not a general anymore. I think he's a senator or a commissioner or some shit. And he's in another MCU movie. So definitely the Edward Norton one is for sure in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though they replaced Edward Norton with Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, whew. Good. Because, there's not a lot of people in this movie, and it didn't seem like this was the normal, I don't know, Hollywood, or normal group of filmmakers. Well, and,
that's probably just the Netflix thing, because it seems like Netflix, even though there's some big names in this, like Clive Owen and Amanda Seyfried, it still seems more of almost an indie movie. The visuals were fantastic, though. The color palette was really good. It's really dark. It's really gloomy. The overlay is constantly like white. You don't ever really see any color in this movie. It's always just kind of like downtrodden.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I still think the production value was pretty good, but I would put this above an independent film, but not quite at the level of like a major mainstream Hollywood movie. I still think it's higher up on the production scale than an indie, though.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I think so too. I would, if I saw this in the theater, I would have thought it was a pretty good movie, and I wouldn't have questioned where it came from.
Didn't Netflix try to do that for a while, or they're thinking about it, or they were talking about it, or something about bringing some of their films to the big screen?
Yeah, they wanted to. The movie theaters are absolutely against it and refuse to show them.
Of course, because Netflix is, clearly affecting a lot of their business. They're not the main factor of affecting their business, but they're definitely a proponent for sure.
Yeah, so they see them as a threat to their whole existence, so they seem to not be too thrilled to show any of their movies.
Speaking of existence, Mike, Movie Pass. What the F?
Yeah, man. Sounds like you weren't able to use your Movie Pass this weekend. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
No, that's one thing that pissed me off. Even if I wanted to use it to see Mission Impossible, I couldn't have used it to see Mission Impossible. It was 100% blacked out on my app. And interestingly, they updated the app so I can actually search all the theaters in the state of Arizona. And I just was curious. And so I started looking at all the different theaters, like the AMC's down in Phoenix, and they have a picture show down in Phoenix, I think, or Paradise Valley or something. And I was looking at that one. Every single one of them, be it IMAX or 3D or regular for Mission Impossible, was blacked out. You could not see Mission Impossible at all this weekend on MoviePass.
Huh.
So I think MoviePass is circling the drain. The sharks are swimming. The sharks are surrounding MoviePass. I think it is going to be toast sooner than later, which brings me possibly to a next topic, which I guess we could discuss while we're recording, is the possibility of us maybe doing like a Patreon or doing sponsorships or advertising to try and help you and I offset the cost of seeing a new movie. Well, not a new movie, 2 new movies every week, because it does add up after a while. And on top of our hosting, the website hosting and the podcast hosting and our equipment costs, and, yes, we are doing this podcast because we find it fun. I personally think leaving advertising out would be good. I don't really want to sit here and read an ad for all of you, but if it comes down to it, that's what we might have to do, because I'm not rich. And I would like to keep doing this. If it has to go down to 1 movie a week and we just always do a legacy cast or a tributary every week, then maybe that's what we'll have to do for a while. But I don't know. If you have an opinion on this, send us an email. I would love to hear from any of you on this. If we should fire a Patreon, if you would contribute $1 or $2 or $3 or $10 a month or whatever, so that Mike and I could go to the movies and so that we can keep doing these reviews.
Yeah. It does end up adding up to go to the movies. We've been averaging 2 movies a week for the last, at least since the summer began, which, because of Marvel, started in April. So we have been watching quite a few movies every weekend, or every week, and it adds up.
What is your average? Let's say you go in the mornings. I know that. So let's say, Mike, what is your cost to go see a movie on a Saturday morning? Now, no concessions, no drinks, because I usually don't do any of that. I'll get maybe a soda, but that's it. And I use my Harkins cup. What does it cost you just for the ticket?
If I go in the morning, they have like an early bird thing Monday or on Friday, Saturday, Sunday at local Cinemark theater. It is $6.49.
No, that's not bad. That's not too bad. But so you do 2 movies a week times 4 weeks times $6.
Yeah,
it's still a chunk of change, man. Now, I typically go to the night showings during the week because I try to avoid the crowds and I try to avoid that thing we've discussed before of having bad audience experiences. And so I usually try and go during the week, and the cost to go during the week at Harkins or Picture Show here in the beautiful Quad City area is, I believe, $9. And so, that would be $18 a week. So you're looking at almost $80 a month to go see movies for the podcast.
Yeah, with MoviePass, you were offsetting that to be about $10, which is
yes and
why...
no. Yes and no, because a lot of the movies that we have reviewed do not come to Picture Show, and I have paid out of my pocket to go see them at Harkins, which is no problem. I like going to Harkins. I think it's a great movie house. I wish they would do something like what AMC has. If Harkins came up with their own unlimited movie, whatever the hell they're calling it, pass
subscription service
stuff. yeah, if Harkins would come up with something, I would probably jump off MoviePass in a heartbeat and join Harkins, as long as it was at least 1 to 2 movies a week. Even if it was just 1 movie a week and it was $10 a month, that still would cut my cost in half.
Yeah. What I was going to say, Matt, earlier when you were talking about the cost of the tickets and then you going to so many movies, I think that's part of the reason that MoviePass is failing. Is so many people are doing that, not necessarily 2 movies a week, but maybe 1 movie a week or maybe 2 movies a month. That still doesn't cover, like, they're losing money hand over fist. So they actually ran out of money to pay their creditors on Thursday, right, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know if it was their creditors. It was one of the companies that they use that runs the transactions of the physical card.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. It was their payment processing contractor or something. They
one of them, yeah.
Them.
They have multiple ones, but they forgot to send the bill or whatever the hell kind of bullshit excuse they're going to come up with, and they basically just shut down MoviePass completely on Thursday. Like, no one could get a ticket anywhere. And MoviePass told everyone it was a technical problem, and then the stories came out Friday that it was not a technical problem. I mean, I guess it was. They didn't pay their bill. I don't think seeing 2 movies a week is what's killing MoviePass. Yes, it's not helping. I think it's the people that are seeing, like, a movie every day that's really kind of destroying the MoviePass idea.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think these people have jobs? Or, like, how could you see a movie every day? Or families? Or any other kind of responsibility?
It could be, a family using 1 card. How do they know? Here, little Billy, take my credit card. Go ahead and go pay for this movie at MoviePass. See ya. And then the next day, little Sally will do it, or whatever. Yeah. It could be someone doing that. Or it could just be a homeless person sleeping in the theater.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it's quite reasonable to think that somebody could see a movie a week. But going more than that is like, wow. With AMC's service, I believe it's $20 a month. And you are allowed to see 3 movies a week, and you can see premium format movies, which is like IMAX or 3D or whatever they have. Their Dolby Super Premium Platinum, Double Gold Platinum, Triple Edition.
Wow, that was a frickin' mouthful. But no, I wish we had an AMC here. If we had an AMC here, I would drop MoviePass because I think AMC is just a all-around better deal, and it would cover my needs. And I don't even give a crap about, like, I guess there's you get a discount on concessions or something. I don't give a crap about that. I think AMC is reasonable. It's $20 a month. And even if they cut it down to only 2 movies a week, or hell, even 1 movie a week at $20 a month, that's still saving me quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
But like you pointed out, when MoviePass goes tits up, which it's doing, AMC will probably fix their rates on their pass, possibly, or cut it down to maybe 1 movie or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that they were just doing that in response to MoviePass, and with the demise of MoviePass, chances are the service will change to be more expensive, or they'll cut back the movies. I mean, even if it was 1 movie a week, that's still awesome. 1 movie a week for $20 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at my rate, that's still saving me $16 because it would be $36 for 4 movies a month.
And to think, like, MoviePass looks like their demise is imminent. They only had 3 million people that was able to knock them down. But, wow. It's probably the 3 million most hardcore movie fans, which is probably working against them.
Yeah, I would say so. So, all right. Well, to get back on topic, Mike, I guess we probably should wrap this up. I think we're going kind of long. But, I'm sure there's quite a few of you that listen to this podcast that are like me that use MoviePass to at least see 1 or 2 movies a month, maybe more. which is fine. That's what it's intended for. So you're probably interested on why the hell can't I see Mission Impossible yet? Well, now you know. MoviePass screwed the pooch.
Yep. So, Matt, with that, what is your rating for Anon?
I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fan-frickin-tastic. I give Anon 4 out of 5 reels. I think if you were a sci-fi person, if you're a technology person, if you just like trippy movies that predict the future, this is a must-see.
I have to agree with you, but I'm gonna rate it a little lower, but still pretty high. I'm gonna do a 3.5 reels because, like you said, this is great sci-fi. Like, I know Netflix invested a lot of money into making some newer sci-fi stuff, and if they keep making things like this, I think it's only going to get better. And I liked it, and I think everybody should watch it if you have access to Netflix, because it's awesome.
I guess on that note, email us. Let us know if you think we should fire up a Patreon, if you're going to give us money, or if you're even going to email us would be nice. Like this Tributary thing. Do you want us to do TV shows? I mean, if we do TV shows, it might be hard to do it in a half hour. But I think we might be able to swing it, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know. Maybe we should do TV shows for that. I don't know. I would, if we're going to do TV shows, I would rather do like original TV shows than, something like Breaking Bad or, something that was on a network that got put on to Netflix. I'd rather do stuff that's only available on those particular services. But that's my thoughts. I don't know. Email us. Let us know what you think. And if you need the email, it is nerds@realfilmnerds.com. And real is spelled REEL. All right. Well, other than that, I don't think I have anything else. What about yourself, Mike?
Nope. I'm just glad to be here, and thanks everyone for listening, and welcome new listeners.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now go out and catch a movie.